Hello and welcome back. My name's Josh, or Minion J, as the disgruntled octopus calls me. Before we get into today's video, I want to put a big thank you out for all those that are watching now, and also those that tuned in last week for my first reselling, reaction video, if you will. Really greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for that. A lot of positive feedback regarding that, and a lot of things that I can improve on as well, which is greatly appreciated. By all means, I'm not just here to take on the compliments. Please, if there's any critiques or criticism, by all means, put them in, and I will work on those different things. So, a bit of background story into this series. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and hopefully you like it enough to stick around. For those that are more familiar with the name or being with the channel, you may understand that I probably have a bit of a dark alter ego or an abrasive character personification, I suppose you could say. We do a podcast with an old lady called Grumpy Granny. She's an absolute little gem, and Blake Gorfine, he's actually an Australian reseller as well. Blake, as much as the octopus doesn't like him, he's fantastic. By all means, go check out Grumpy Granny and Blake Gorfine. The amount of stuff they can give you, regardless if you're in Australia or international, is phenomenal. You can't do yourself wrong from that. Bit of background regarding this series. My daughter wants to go to Japan in later in the year for a school trip, so my plan is to run this series doing reaction videos, providing my 2 cents, providing some I suppose some guidance or some situational awareness from what I would do in that circumstances for those videos, and that ad revenues from that generated from these videos will be directed into her Japanese account to help her go over there. So if you would like to assist in that regard, all I ask you to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment if you want. By all means, tell me what you think or what I can do, or whoever you want me to look at next, and share the video. And if you do that, I'll be beyond grateful and be really appreciative. But thank you. Without further ado, we'll get into today's video. Today's video, we're going to look at an analog money project. That's about the 80th time I've tried to say that. That's the first time I've got it right. So basically, his video, this one we're looking at now, I came across about a month ago. Love it. I'm not going to lie, I watch a lot of reselling content both within Australia and overseas and international, and this is probably the best video that I've seen in the last 6 to 12 months. No BS, straight to the point. I'm in awe of his editing skills, to be quite honest. I can't edit, and this guy is fantastic, so I look up to him. But the biggest takeaway from this thing, right, is that he's giving probably the most realistic outlook of reselling I've seen. A lot of YouTube channels, they kind of sugarcoat it and all these different things. This is just brutally honest, and this is probably the biggest representation of what reselling that I've seen on YouTube. So big thank you to you. I don't know what your name is, so apologies in advance. And if you do say it halfway through the video, I will change it. But big thank you for that. So basically, this guy jumped on the bandwagon of the free eBay store, so you're basically sourcing things for free and selling them for profit. And a couple of days into his adventure, he lost his job and obviously moved into the full-time space. So I'm going to do something similar to what I did last week. Just watch the video, pause it, provide what I would do in that situation, or some guidance or some explanation for those that probably aren't aware.
These old breakers that I got a while ago, and I actually made a video about them, but they weren't going to sell in this condition. They were dirty and all had to be cleaned. So I got to work with some rubbing alcohol, an old toothbrush, and some rags.
If you are reselling, if you're new to reselling, you've been around for a little while, depending on what you sell. If you're selling books, you're selling clothes and all those different things. Obviously, clothes you want to wash and press and all those different things. But for example, for myself, I sell toys and Skylanders and video games and all those different things. Toothbrush, a little bit of water, like he's mentioning here, goes far away. So you just do that, and it makes it more presentable. So get a toothbrush. Don't use the toothbrush. Get a toothbrush. Older the better.
It was super time consuming. Very next day, this happened. 2 of the breakers have just sold. A 40 amp and a 50 amp, right about $60 a piece. Definitely has given me encouragement to keep going.
So I was going to make the assumption that if you're looking at from creating a new eBay store from scratch, so those 2 sales that he did, especially in Australia, and I do think it's the same as international as well, eBay will actually hold those funds for up to a period for 28 days. So be mindful of that. So basically, this gentleman, like I said, later on, he does lose his job. He's relying on the full-time reselling to fund his livelihood per se. But if you are creating a new YouTube channel, a new eBay store, don't go run out to buy all this stock, especially if you need that money. And I will give you some pointers a little bit later on what I think that you could do to offset this, this $0 fad that's going around. yeah, so basically, like I said, just be mindful that your funds can be tied up for 4 weeks. Grumpy Granny, like I mentioned earlier, she did a video about using eBay funds to pay for postage because, like I said, that your funds are going to be tied up. However, they're still available on eBay. If you are selling products, use your eBay funds just to get it moving. Get a tracking number on there and go from there. And I'll obviously release the funds a little bit quicker.
I'm no longer employed. So, I mean, it's not really a want anymore. Can't do any of that. It's like I got to make something happen. So far.
So he's obviously lost his job. In Australia, we've got a really good welfare system, so obviously that it's not going to be enough to to make you go on glamorous holidays and all those different things, but there is a little bit of money there to assist in that respect. So if you are from America or from the States, obviously the same country, but if you're also from different places like the UK or Canada, just put in the comment section below how your welfare system, enacts in this situation. Like what happens if you do lose your job? Are you out in the street? Do you have no access to income, or you're only basically going off your savings?
I've sold $90 worth of stuff, and that's not gonna feed me.
Yeah, I don't know if you could tell by that clip, but I was scared. And it was at this moment everything changed, because this went from being a stupid video challenge to a lifeline of actual survival. And to be honest, I really wasn't confident in my abilities.
I need to make something happen. Is I need to get like inventory going. So hopefully it'll work out. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to go try to find a day job or something, because I mean, this is really my only hope.
That day.
So what I would suggest, like, I was doing full-time eBay for probably about close to 2.5 years. I've recently gone back to full-time employment. I'm a strong believer is that reselling you shouldn't be doing full-time. By all means, that's my personal opinion. Don't crucify, or do crucify me, in the comment section below. But realistically, if I was in this gentleman's situation, I'd be looking for a second or a part-time job, just something to have that money coming in. What you will find if you have been selling on eBay for a while, you're coming into the system, is that eBay is not consistent. It really depends on the sell-through rate of the item, the popularity or the want of the item. So obviously, if you're selling things that don't have a very big sell-through or aren't very desirable, they might stay around longer than if you're selling something. And everyone refers to like iPhones or Apple products and stuff like that. If the market's $100 and you're selling it for $80, it will sell like that. But luckily, on the flip side, if you're selling photographs or something along the lines of that, you might see them waiting a little bit around.
I began scouring the internet looking for new inventory, and it's not the coolest thing to buy or sell, but that's actually where I learned lesson 1.
When it comes to reselling, only buy stuff that you're not interested in owning yourself. This ensures you're not going to overpay. So either you get
can't agree with that more. Like I've said a bit earlier, I sell Skylanders. It's gotten to the point now where I buy so many of them, I actually become attached to them. So there's this one, for example, is very hard to get in the States or overseas. So that they're very rare in the sense that I see them enough and I start collecting them. So look for things that obviously that you want to sell. It's in abundance, in demand, and you don't have any attachment to. So, for example, with the doorknobs, that's probably a good thing because obviously that's a wanted product. That's a necessity. It's like obviously there's builders and all those different things.
get a great deal or you don't buy it at all.
As the week went on, even though I've been listing, there was not even one sale in sight. As hours and days passed by,
So that goes back to what I was saying a bit earlier, is that eBay doesn't guarantee anything. So obviously that he's listed probably 10 hours straight of his 400 doorknobs, but it's not guaranteed that they're going to sell it straight away. And in this situation, with him being with no access to permanent employment, his savings or whatever disposable income that he has is going to dry up very quickly. So, like I said, going back before, get yourself a part-time job. Doesn't need to be on a full-time thing. You don't necessarily need to like it. Just get enough to get the revenue coming in or the money coming in, and you can also go from there.
Anxiety grew, and I started regretting my decision. That was until Friday night, and that's when I had my first sale. An old pair of shoes for $13.
Now Friday night at like 9 o'clock, literally said that I'm not leaving here until I have a reason to leave here. I just had an order tonight, or my first sale all week. So right as I'm doing that, I get this message from eBay, and it's a guy who resells breakers, and he said, hey, I want to buy all of them, all of the 20 amp that you have, all 26. We'll sold $800 worth of stuff.
So I started packaging up the order, and after he paid, I realized this could be
Yeah, so I think he gets into it in a little second, but obviously, you want, if people engage you in conversation, especially through the eBay messaging system, don't go outside of eBay. Don't reply to messages like, hey, look, if you send me a message on this text, this mobile number or this cell number, or you send me a message here on this email address, eBay is going to close your account down pretty quickly, and more often than not, 99% of the time, it's probably a scam, so don't do it. But if someone buys a product or they reach out and say, hey, look, I'm interested in those products, try and engage with them. Try and get more business out of them if you can. Like, for example, Skylanders, Skylanders again, is that, if someone buys this from the States, it's going to cost the same to send this one as it is to cost to send these ones. So I'll reach out to them and say, hey, look, I can send maybe 3 or 4 more Skylanders if you're interested for the same price that you've paid for the postage. So, you don't have to pay any more postage. You just pick out a couple more Skylanders, pay for those, and I'll arrange for them to get out to you tomorrow. That's how you do it.
Yeah, opportunity for even bigger sale. So I messaged him and asked if he wanted the rest of the ones that I had. And for $235, he bought them. So with over $1,000
exactly
in sales, I was ecstatic. But unfortunately, I hadn't sold any of the doorknobs I had $400 invested in.
We had our first sale of the doorknobs. It was a 20-item lot. But anyway, that's a good dent because I paid $400 for it, and like half of it's already back, and that's only been like 3 days. So not.
So he sold it a lot of 20. So just say cost of goods there would be just shy of $20 there, gone by his calculation. So $179 back on 20 is pretty good.
Not bad. Definitely better than working a day job.
But now I had to go through each one and make sure all the parts were there. And luckily I did, because I found out that one of them didn't even have a key. But I finished packing them up, and then this happened. This was a heavy package, almost 42 pounds.
So 42 pounds for us is probably just shy of 20 kilos, I dare say, probably about 19 and a half kilos. Let me know in the comments if I got it right, because I'm just going off. I used to do some postal work in the military, so I used to deal with pounds and kilos a fair bit.
So it needed a lot more tape than that.
All right, it's not who has a lot of 14 different instruments, flutes, saxophones, French horns. I don't know anything about it, but I think it's gonna be a fun thing to go buy. $200 for all of them, so about 14 bucks. And it's an hour and a half drive from my house, so it's a little bit of a pain.
Now, I had actually been talking.
Personally, I don't sell musical instruments, A, because I don't know what they are. I'm not musically minded in any capacity, and B, I wouldn't know how to ship them. So just be mindful is that when you are sourcing, especially out of desperation like this gentleman is, that you kind of work out, A, do I know enough about this product, and B, how will I ship it? That should be the first 2 questions you're asking yourself every time you try and look into a new niche. I know
In the seller for a few days, but I'll admit, I knew nothing about instruments, so my brain was telling me this was a bad idea, but for some reason, my gut told me otherwise. The seller's house, he actually turned out to be a cool guy who genuinely just didn't want to bother with them. I brought him home and I listed about half of them that night.
Just woke up, and I woke up to 2 good things. So number 1, I sold another doorknob, sold for like 25 bucks. But better news than that, one of the saxophones, I woke up to an offer for $181.
So what this video is teaching me is go out and source doorknobs.
Saxophone. I mean, literally, not even 24 hours later.
But then came the challenge, finding a box that could fit the saxophone case, because it had to go out that day. So I headed to my local Dollar General, where I usually get boxes from. But when I got them home, most of the boxes I got wouldn't work.
But luckily, I was able to find this angel saw. Just kind of fits in there on the side.
Now I needed to find a more sustainable solution moving forward. So after shipping the sax, I went to a local store and bought a few of their largest boxes. They were super expensive, like 15 bucks a piece.
Look how big they are. They take up the whole back seat of my Accord.
But I realized that none of these boxes would be perfect, so custom packaging would have to become part of my skill set.
They call this Frankenboxing, like Frankenstein, where you just cut the box down to what you need. But I suppose if you had a replenishable set of saxophones or musical instruments, it might be better to go to a music shop, like someone that sells saxophones, and then reach out to them and say, hey, look, do you have any packaging materials and all those different things? Because I dare say these products probably come in boxes at some stage.
This is tough, but this is like the most fun I've had in a long time. All I want to do is keep doing this. I don't even want to do anything else besides keep selling stuff on eBay.
I'm glad I had this attitude, because I would need it to carry me through week 3. I started.
Before we get into week 3, so the reason why he's probably ecstatic, because obviously he's got money coming in when he's unemployed, but what he's selling is in demand. So there is a requirement for people buying those products. If you're selling Funko Pops, you're selling T-shirts, you're selling run-of-the-mill stuff that you got laying around the house, the sell-through rate might necessarily be as quick as that is. Like, I've got Funko Pops I've had for 2 years. So basically, be mindful of what you're doing. If you are after that quick cash injection, buy something that moves very quickly.
Guy that I talked to last night about the breakers has been giving me the runaround. He told me last night, oh, we're gonna have a quote for you in an hour. Oh, we'll have it by the end of the night. And then I texted him at like 10 p.m. I'm like, you still thinking tonight? And he's like, oh, well, I'll call you first thing in the morning. Nothing. And I called him at 11. He's like, hang on, I'm on the other line. I'll give you a call back. And
so, like, again, back to what I said previously, the drive of this guy is what you need in the reselling space, right? You really need to be on top of it. You need to have this drive. Like, you can't just see reselling as, oh yeah, I'll sleep until 10 a.m. and do a couple of listings, do a bit 4 hours of sourcing, and I'm going to be raking in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. This is the kind of personality you need, and I can't compliment this guy enough, because he's taken a really bad situation and he's flipped it around for something very good. But going back to what I said a bit earlier, get a job, get a side job. Don't rely on this, because from what I haven't seen, and he hasn't mentioned previously, is that you've got tax implications, you've got your time that you're spending for outside, gas, petrol, and all these different things that are playing into a part. So
realize most breaker buyers are a complete waste of time. Just when I thought things wouldn't get any worse.
And I looked on my eBay just randomly, and it said that a couple days ago somebody filed a dispute. Now the dispute was for the trumpet that I sent, and it looks like they filed it like right after it got shipped. I don't know exactly what happened. Hear this? I never had anybody file a dispute before. Whoever bought it, they pressed buy it now and they bought it. So it's something they did. I don't know how eBay's going to handle this. It's going to be interesting to see.
So you will find that, if you're a brand new eBay account, and I'm pretty sure other YouTubers have said this as well, is that if you've got a brand new eBay account or one with very low feedback, you'll attract scammers, in the sense that they'll say that the product never arrived. They'll open payment disputes where they basically go to their credit card company and ask for their money back because they don't recognize the transaction, or go to their bank and the same thing, or go back to eBay and say that something's broken, all these different things. Always get the product back before you refund it and make sure it's the same product.
See, I talked to the guy with the trumpet last night. He says he didn't order it. I'm more than happy to give you a refund when the item's returned. And it's so good that I'm making this video, because I have that whole entire video.
So sell them whole. The next morning I was woken up super early
by a woman who said that the dog treats I sold her for $10 with free shipping for 2 of them were actually expired, but said I was a scammer and all this stuff, and she was...
I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the podcast previously, your low dollar people. I don't sell video games under $10 or $15 now, for the simple fact is that they're your problem children. They pay $10 and they expect the quality of the product to be $1,000. 99.9% of your troubled customers will be the ones that are $10 and free shipping and below.
Was going to leave me a bad review. I needed to refund her. So I did. I got basically no sleep last night.
The next morning, I realized lesson number 2.
And what I've come to notice is that the cheapest customers or the cheapest items are always the biggest headache. They always demand the most. That lady spent $10 with free shipping. Call me a scammer. And I actually sent her the item. So what an idiot. Kind of want to stick to stuff that's at least like $30 and up.
Luckily, I was convinced my luck couldn't get any worse. So I decided to buy some lottery tickets. But I didn't win on them. And this week actually turned out to be terrible, with 3 scams of problem customers. So first the trumpet, then the dog treats. But lastly, the saw blade I sent out, the buyer contacted me telling me that the teeth were actually chipped. He sent me pictures of the blade in use in the middle of a cut in his saw 3 days after it arrived from last day. And this actually taught me lesson number 3.
When the whales are hungry, you have to be there to feed them. Kind of a dumb statement, but every big day that I've had on eBay, every plus $500 day, never came from just somebody pressing buy it now. It all started off with a question sent to me in Messenger. By using traditional sales skills, adding value, solving problems, and good customer service is how I converted them into paying customers and big transactions. So
if you've got sales experience or customer service experience, I think that you would tend to do a little bit better in the reselling space. That, like you're saying with the customer service, you can upsell things. Like I said earlier with the Skylanders, especially the international ones, is that, say, I can fit 4 or 5 more of these in if you want to choose which ones you want out, and more often than not, they choose the $60, $70 ones. So that $15 or $20 order shoots up to about $200 because I've just reached out and said, hey, look, you can fit up, don't waste the empty space in the box. I can put these, 4 or 5 more characters in for the exact postage.
Really leave my house at all for the last 3 weeks, besides like to go get stuff. And it's kind of a catch-22. Like, I could have made more money had I been out and about, but at the same time, I'm not gonna lie, I've been so scared. Everything is sort of on my back now. Every day I wake up and there's like a sense of anxiety of like, you never know when your next dollar.
And I can't stress this enough. This is what I found for the first 6 months of when I was reselling. I was doing really well. The sales were coming in. I was doing about probably $500 to $750 a day in sales, profit probably about $250 to $300 a day. Then you might hear other YouTubers refer to the 1st of April of last year, so 2023. Everything died, and that's pretty much a lot of people that I speak to across the board. The same results and all these different things. So I was maintaining my listings, I was doing all these different things, and it got to the point where it was a state of anxiety that you were constantly you weren't getting sales for about all day till about 6 or 7 p.m. at night. Then you'd have a couple of sales trickle through then, but you had that constant fear of anxiety. So reselling's not easy. Like I've said numerous times, my biggest belief is that you should have some sort of form of income, whether you're doing YouTube, whether you're doing an office job, or you're doing another part-time position, whatever you do, whatever your background is, whatever you can do from that perspective. But don't rely on eBay purely for your sole source of income, because a lot of things can go wrong.
This actually made me realize lesson number 4. Negotiate from a position of weakness. Everybody I talked to on Facebook or Craigslist, I told them the exact same thing. I would offer what I wanted to pay, and then I would say, if not, no worries, or if not, no big deal. And a lot of times in negotiations, people overestimate the power that they have. I realized that they could sell their stuff to whoever they want, and I could pay whatever I want. If they don't want to sell to me for my price, it doesn't matter. Move on. Who cares? You see these things where people are like, it's not worth that much. Ha ha ha. That doesn't work. If you do take that approach, you're going to put them into an emotional state where they're never going to make a rational decision. They're going to be too caught up in the interpersonal conflict to just be like, okay, let's get rid of it. And furthermore, nobody was ever an asshole to me. Nobody was ever like, yourself, any of that kind of stuff. If anybody didn't want to do a deal, they said, no, sorry, I can't sell it for that low. Be polite to people, and it'll come back tenfold to you.
Yeah, I agree 110% with that. Like, very early on, I suppose I have had previous experience in customer service, but because the anxiety takes over, you're feeling that you need to get every deal, every Facebook Marketplace transaction needs to go in your favor because you need that money to come in, right? But like you were saying earlier, is that you become attached to that product. Like I was sourcing a lot of 3DS units and all these different things, and I'll be saying, if this gentleman was selling his console for $100 with 10 games or something like that, he goes, oh no, someone's already, someone's picking it up tonight or something. Then I'd go, I'll give you $200 because I could make, $200 profit on that. I'm becoming too invested in that transaction. I should be just like, no worries, please let me know if it falls through and I'll come straight out and pick it up. And I actually had more luck in the long term doing that than obviously, because like I said, unless you're getting those really high sell-through rates, you're wanting to keep your prices, you pay things as low as possible.
But I'm actually about to go do something else. I also have all these bottles and cans I've been saving all month long, and today's the very last day, so we're gonna see if we can add a little bit more money to the pot.
All right, I just got here. Look like the Beverly Hills.
I actually forgot about this, and as coincidentally enough, I was going to bring this as an example. If besides doing your $0 challenges on eBay and all these different things, collect cans, because in Australia, most states in Australia, they offer you 10 cents per can, right? So don't drink your own cans, because the simple fact is that you're losing money. Like if a can costs you $1 each and you're getting 10 cents back on it, you're not making money. You're making 90 cents in a loss. But by all means, like my daughter, what I mentioned earlier about the Japan trip, she's actually put out some notices around our suburb that we live in, and she's got like a bit of a weekly collection going on. So what she's done is put up little flyers in people's letterboxes and a little couple of signs in communal areas saying, hey, look, I'm trying to fund a trip to Japan. If you have any cans that you would like to give me or donate to the cause, please leave them out on a Thursday morning, which is our bin day, which our garbage to get collected on, and I'll come around at 6 o'clock in the morning and pick them up. And I accompany her with that. We get around, and she's probably looking at about $40 to $50 a week in just cans that she has no other way. And all we do from where we are, we put them in a plastic bag, put your mobile number on it or your cell number on it, and the money gets credited into your account about 3 or 4 days later. So like I said, think outside the box and go from there.
Hillbillies. It's pretty easy though. You just dump it into a machine and it counts them automatically. All right, all done. $17.70, 354 cans. And next to the bottle return place is this kind of like junk store. I saw they had a lot of uranium glass for sale. They wanted $1,500 for it. I wound up buying it all for $535, and I overpaid. They advertised it as uranium glass. It was actually manganese glass, but you live and you learn. I also wound up getting almost 20 of these brass mail slots for
uranium glass glows green under a black light, so you can get little torch off Amazon, get one of those and you can do all those different things. But I don't know much about it, but if you reach out to Grumpy Granny, she knows all about them because she
$30 while I was there, which was a really good deal. And that day I actually had multiple more sales. Another handle set for $100, a faucet for $60, a book for $7.
All right, so ending off the month on a kind of a high note, $175 for these 4 switches.
So strong ending to the month, but now for the results.
Welcome to my shipping supply room. So, for the results.
The doorknobs I bought for $400. I wound up selling through about 100 of them for $7.
You can go back and watch the rest of the video yourself, but I just want to draw to the fact that, whilst he had a lot of success in the month, he was making a lot of mistakes and probably out of desperation, right? So basically, he did a pretty good job from what I've seen, is that he was pretty level-headed in, you do get frustrated. You do have the ups, you have like really high ups and you have really low lows. So that's something to be mindful of. And I do spruik mental health. Basically, like I have mentioned previously in lives, that I do have a lot of friends that suffer mental health by virtue of our career. So basically it's a high cost on our mental health, and basically that's something that why I got out of that field in the first place and sequentially gone back. But just be very mindful if you've got mental health. You need to have mental health issues. Probably have some support systems if you are going into the reselling space. Have a community. Make some friends in the space. There's a lot of people. And yes, we are competing for sales and competing for products. However, I've built unfathomable relationships with a lot of the people that watched me and a lot of people that I admire from watching their videos. Everyone's quite nice. Not all of us get along. I respect everyone. Differing opinions might lead to fallouts, which is unfortunate. It's a fact of life. But by all means, go watch this video. Like I said, he's got a follow-up video that came out yesterday or a couple of days ago. Very informative if you are looking at from the YouTube space, if you are looking into moving into YouTube. Long story short, don't do shorts. Your long form content is probably what you want to focus on, as what he replied in that video as well. But by all means, check this video out. I love his his motivation, his drive. It's just phenomenal, and it's not something that you see very often in the reselling space. Everyone wants to be a reseller, but no one wants to do the work. But anyway, next time, thank you very much for watching. I would love for you to like, comment, and share, and we'll see you next time. Bye.